Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 369. The podcast where we just, pass the time until the Sunday stream and we can play more trails. So, I just watched Tales of the Empire. I can't do John Caster's Crypt Keeper voice. So I just watched Tales of the Empire. The new Disney Plus Star Wars 6-episode of shorts. A year or so ago, they did Tales of the Jedi, and a couple weeks ago, they premiered Tales of the Empire. Watched it today. In fact, I just finished watching it literally like less than 10 minutes ago. And it's not very good, in my ever so humble opinion, which makes me sad because I like Star Wars, but man, a lot of the Star Wars TV stuff is just not very good. I've never seen Clone Wars. I saw the first, the Gendy Tartakovsky stuff, which I thought was not good. But I hear it got really good, at least at points. I hear Rebels is good. I hear Bad Batch is good. I'll probably never know because I doubt I'll watch it because, to me, most of the Star Wars TV stuff I'm watching is, well, there's stuff I like. I mean, there's, spaceships and aliens and laser swords and stuff. They're just not very good. Like the storytelling is just. Let me get the. Let me get the least important critique out of the way. I don't know what's going on with the production, but whoever's animating these shows has absolutely no earthly clue how to animate a walk or run cycle. Which is weird because everything else is animated just fine. Like all the fight choreography, like jumping around and flipping and swinging laser swords and stuff, all that looks fine, but anytime you get a character just casually walking across the screen, it's embarrassingly bad. Maybe, it's a crunch thing, and, those were the lowest priority shots, and those were, I don't know, but it's just kind of weird that walking, the walk and run cycles are just really, really bad. But what makes these shows not good is they barely tell stories. I realize they're shorts. They're only like 15 or so minutes long, but even then, they just don't really do enough to take the time to actually make me care about any of the characters. You just don't really get a feel for who any of these people are. Also, if you're not like super Star Wars dorky, like me, you're probably going to be completely lost because these shows, interestingly, seem to be presented from the point of view like that anyone who watches them knows exactly what's going on in the Star Wars universe at this time. And if you don't, if you're just, casual Star Wars person, I've seen the movies, whatever, you're probably going to be lost. It's like, wait, where is the Empire a thing? Is Darth Vader around? Are we during the prequels or are we after the originals? Where are we? And Tales of the Empire jumps around. Snake, hello. So, there was a bad guy of the week who showed up in one of the episodes of The Mandalorian. And I think it was the first one that Ahsoka Tano showed up in. But then she showed up, and she was just, bad guy magistrate of the poor oppressed town, and Mandalorian man and Ahsoka freed the town. Cool. Didn't really need to know much about her. She's just the bad guy. And then she got her comeuppance at the end. Okay, cool, moving on. Fine. Then she showed up again in the Ahsoka show, But even if you did remember that she was the villain of the week bad guy from that one episode of The Mandalorian a few years back, didn't really matter because you never really got a good grasp of what the hell this woman's deal was. Who is she? What's her story? Even if you don't know where she comes from, or it's like, what exactly does she want and why? So, the first 3 episodes of Tales of the Jedi covers this Morgan Elsbeth, or whatever her name is. I'm like, oh, we're going to cover some of her backstory, develop her character. Okay, that might be interesting to know before you aired the Ahsoka show, but, better late than never. It's fine. Nah, it doesn't really matter. Hey, you know what her backstory is? The Empire killed her family and she has a sad. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep, Empire, for some reason, because they're bad, showed up and just eradicated her village like we're starting an RPG. And that made her mad, and so she joins the Empire to get revenge on the Empire. Somehow, I'm not sure exactly what her long-term plan is. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, maybe it's like get close to your enemy so you can stab them, like what's her name, Reva did in the Obi-Wan show. She was an Inquisitor so that she could get close to Darth Vader so that she can stab him in the face. That didn't go too well. But I'm not even sure what Elsbeth's goal or plan. I mean, I know she's mad. So the episodes just kind of jump around. So the first episode is Elsbeth's family is killed. Okay. Then it jumps forward some, and General Grievous is around, so this is during the prequels somewhere. So some unspecified time later, she's running the town that shows up in The Mandalorian, and she's trying to get a job at the Empire, and they say no. And then they send an assassin after her, and she beats him. And they're like, hey, you're pretty good. Want to join the Empire? And she's like, yes, for revenge. And General Thrawn, whoever the hell he is and whatever he's doing, shows up and is like, hey, I like your moxie. And then some other specified time later, I guess Thrawn has been banished to another galaxy. I mean, if you saw the Ahsoka show, he was. That's never explained. Maybe it's explained in Clone Wars or Rebels or something. I don't know. Still no idea who the hell this guy is or what his role is, or why he's important. I guess I didn't see the right Star Wars things. But he's blue. I know that much. So some unspecified time later, apparently the Empire has fallen. And, okay, she's still running the town. I don't think Ahsoka has shown up in that episode of The Mandalorian. So the New Republic comes in and says, hey, you should join the New Republic. And she says no, and she kills them all. And that's it. I mean, it's possible, before she kills them all, they send out a distress signal. Maybe that's the one that the Mandalorian or Ahsoka Tano hears about. Wow. Okay, cool story, bro. So then we go to another story, which actually goes back in time to, I think, the Order 66 thing where they slaughtered all the Jedi, I think. See, in Tales of the Jedi, they told everything in chronological order. They actually started with Baby Ahsoka, and then they did 3 episodes of the rise and fall of Count Dooku, and then they did more. The last 2 episodes were the later life of Ahsoka. Okay. This one's just... If you're not paying attention and you don't know your Star Wars lore, hello, Chicago. You might be confused. But I'm a big old Star Wars dork, so I knew exactly what was going on. Chaos says, Grand Admiral Thrawn. To get a good sense of him, you have to read the Timothy Zahn books. Yeah, I remember those books from when I was in 7th grade, because I know some of my classmates had them. I don't think I read them. I'm pretty sure I did. I know I read Shadows of the Empire after the video game came out. But yeah, I mean, I'm broadly aware of who Thrawn is, but the way he's presented in the Star Wars media that I've seen, I just don't care because I know nothing about him. You know? It's like, oh, he's a bad guy. Okay. Make him interesting. Make it part of a story. I hear he's really cool, but you're not showing me why. So anyway, the next 3 stories are, there was a Jedi, and she went to jail because apparently she accused the Jedi of killing somebody. Don't know who, unless I totally missed it. That's never covered. But, so she's in jail, they order 66 them, and they're like, hey, you want to join the Empire as an Inquisitor? She says, yeah. And then she realizes that the hilariously, clownishly, cartoonishly evil Empire is bad, actually. So she leaves. And then the last episode, she confronts her former master, who didn't leave. And then does. The end. Okay. Again, cool story, bro. He's interesting in the books. Well, good for the books. I'm not saying Thrawn is a bad character. I'm saying he's not used well in Ahsoka or Tales of the Empire. He may be used really well in the Clone Wars, the cartoon. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe he is. And again, just want to be clear. I'm not pooping on Thrawn as a character. I'm sure he's a great character. He just hasn't been used well in the 2 shows I've seen him in thus far. So, for me, Tales of the Empire, bad show. Just kind of boring. Stories are not interesting. They don't do enough with the characters to make them interesting. There's almost no point being made. There's actually, like, no story. Like, with a short, it's really difficult to, like, establish a character and make you care about them and tell an actual meaningful story with a point, because you don't have a lot of time. You could do it, it's just hard. These are not successful. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. With a short, you can just do something neat. It's like, person goes to work and gets in a fight with ninjas. And you have a fun ninja fight. Okay, if that's all you're doing, cool, but this show presents itself like it actually is telling a story, not just, hey, here's a little vignette that's fun. In fairness, Disney hasn't used Star Wars very well. I mean, Disney's had Star Wars since 2015. I mean, since the new trilogy, right? So, I think Disney's doing kind of the hot and cold. I mean, they're doing about as well with Star Wars, I think, as DC is doing with DC. Like, some of it's good, some of it's not. A lot of it's really bad. Which makes me sad because, like DC, I like superheroes. I like Star Wars, but not a lot of it has been very good. I mean, there's been a lot of good things in various Star Wars movies and shows, but I mean, the first 2 movies of the new trilogy, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, were good. For different reasons, I think. But Rise of Skywalker, movie 9, is unbelievably terrible. Just holy shit. Like, if that movie didn't have characters that I already liked in it, you know, Rey and Finn and Poe and Rose and all the others, right? You know, characters that had been established in the previous two movies. I would rank Rise of Skywalker easily below the prequel trilogy. The only reason I feel that Rise of Skywalker is better in the prequel trilogy is it's actually got characters I give a damn about. I don't care about any of the characters in any of the prequel movies. There's no good characters. Some cool, laser sword battles and ship battles and stuff, but boy, those movies are bad. And then we get to the shows, and the first two seasons of Mandalorian are pretty decent. Third one's okay. Book of Boba Fett is watchable, but not good. Obi-Wan was like half good, half really bad. Like it had some good ideas, but just kept face planting. Which was frustrating because there was a lot of things that the Obi-Wan show like did really well, and then a lot of things it just was like, oh man, what are you doing? And then Ahsoka, I think, is probably just flat out the worst Star Wars live action thing I've seen. Then there's the Tales of Empire and Jedi. Tales of Jedi are okay. That one's okay. Tales of Empire falls flat. And then the two Star Wars Visions one are okay. And it's like some of them work, some of them don't. Boy, I hope the Acolyte. So yeah, not a great track record. Like I wouldn't even blame Disney. Like Star Wars sucked before Disney. There's the first three movies which are pretty great. The New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. Those are great. Then you had what? The two Ewok movies. One of them's okay. One of them not so much. You have the Christmas special, which I've never seen, but I hear it's bad. Can't really judge. Haven't seen it. Then you've got the Star Wars special editions in the late 90s, which were pretty much the same movies with a couple of interesting tweaks, but a lot of tweaks that made me go, oh no. Oh no, George Lucas doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Is it the kids? Is it because he had kids? Because Steven Spielberg started making some really bad choices once he had kids. Kids ruin everything. And then he made the first prequel movie. And then the second prequel movie. And then the third prequel movie. And that was all prior to Disney. So I'm not going to blame Disney for ruining Star Wars. Star Wars has had a bumpy ride since 1983. But, we got a couple cool video games out of it. A couple of the movies are, Force Awakens is way too derivative of the original trilogy, but it still worked well enough to be really entertaining. Its follow-up was solid. The second sequel was not. Again, probably. Oh, I forgot about Solo and Rogue One. Yeah, Solo. It's okay. It's watchable, but it's a movie that definitely now. Maybe I'm reading too much into it because I'm aware of the production history. This was a film that was helmed by two different directors, by Phil Lord and what's the other guy's name? Two dudes, and then Disney said no and replaced him with Ron Howard. And maybe I'm letting too much of the fact that I know that story happened, but I watched the movie. I'm like, yeah, I can see where this was just changed, where stuff just got moved around, and it doesn't. The movie doesn't work. I think my favorite weird thing in the movie, the Solo movie, is where Emphas Nest takes off her helmet and shows her face to whoever's standing around, and everything about that scene, from the way it's shot, the way it's framed, the music, the lighting, the character actions and reactions, everything is telling the audience, oh my god, who is this woman? We've never seen her before. What? It's staged like it's this grand reveal, And it doesn't work at all because no one has any idea who the hell this is. We've never seen her before. It's like, oh my god, it's some person we don't know. I was sitting in the theater going like, is she like their kid or something? What is the significance here? No significance. She's just some random person. She has no ties to them at all. She's just her. Maybe the actor something Kellerman something. Like, I didn't know who she was when I first saw the movie, but I've since seen her in other stuff, so I know she's a working actor. Maybe that's what they're going, oh my gosh, it's that actor that you recognize if you watch this TV show that Andrew's never seen. I don't know. Then you have Rogue One, which is also just bad from a storytelling standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of cool, fun stuff in it. Neat characters, neat monsters, laser swords and laser guns and explosions and starfighters shooting at each other. There's all kinds of cool stuff in the movie, but the movie sucks. The storytelling is garbage. It's terrible. Hey, you know that necklace she has? That's everything about the presentation tells you that this is really important. It's not at all. Oh. Hey, you remember the blind guy who's like, hey, the Force is with me? Does anything ever come of that? Nope. Huh. Hey, you know that one pilot guy that they go get and he gets brain sucked by the brain sucky monster that sucks brains? And it's like, oh no, we've got a pilot, we got his brain sucked out. Oh, what a barrier we must overcome. No, he's fine. Oh, okay, well what was the point then? It's a bad movie, and it should feel bad. Another movie that was probably just shot and reshot a bunch of times and edited and re-edited. It's another movie that feels like that. Now, I don't know, but, and you may disagree. Maybe you love the movie. I don't know, but yeah, not good. So, and again, makes me sad because despite it all, damn it, I love Star Wars. You know? And I hope the Acolyte show is good. I mean, it seems off to a good start. That being someone's out killing the Jedi. I'm on board with that because the Jedi suck. Not as like characters in a story. No, the Jedi are very cool. Laser swords are cool, but I mean, the Jedi are bad guys. They're really terrible at what they do. They are a cult who kidnaps children and indoctrinates them into a world that suppresses emotion, isolates them from everyone else, and for some reason just keeps half of them turned out to be serial killers. Yeah, the Jedi are terrible, but the laser swords are pretty cool. Gotta admit, those are cool laser swords. Chaos says hit and miss. Rogue One hit. Rise of Skywalker miss. Well, I definitely agree with Rise of Skywalker being a miss. That is. I have never been outright. Rise of Skywalker is the only Star Wars thing that has ever outright just confused me. I remember the first 10 minutes of the movie, I'm like, what am I even looking at here? It starts out with Kylo Ren wandering around the woods somewhere. Where is he? I don't know. What's he doing? I don't know. Who's he fighting? I don't know. We never really find out, but he's there apparently to pick up like a little MacGuffin. What is that? I don't know. It seems to be like maybe a map to somewhere. Okay. Then he flies somewhere that appears to be like a giant pyramid that's like floating off the ground and has lightning underneath it. And I'm sitting there in the theater. I'm like, what? Is this a floating pyramid with lightning underneath? Is that what I'm seeing? I'm like visually not grokking what I'm seeing. Yeah, just awful movie. Yeah. But hey, I keep making more Star Wars because, you know, maybe because I like Star Wars. I'll watch anything Star Wars, I guess, except Clone Wars and Rebels and what was the other one? Bad Batch. And that's mainly just because there's between the 3 shows, there's like 15 seasons or something. I don't have the time. That's like 500 episodes. I don't have the time for that. Hey, Crowed Man. Disney's handled Star Wars as chaos the same way Microsoft has handled Halo after Bungie stopped making them. Again, I don't really agree with that, because Star Wars was fumbled and fumbling and other words that start with F before Disney came into the picture. So, but that doesn't excuse the fact that a bunch of the Star Wars projects just are not very good. And I hate to single individual people out, but maybe Dave Filoni should just stop writing these, because they're just really bad. Like, it's mainly just the writing. I mean, the production is fine. The ideas are cool. There's a lot of cool production design. The choreography oftentimes is very neat. You know, the fights are fun. The ship battles are cool. Like, the characters look awesome. The actors are all charismatic and groovy. But it's like, the storytelling is terrible. And I don't know if to lay that on the feet of the writers or what. But, yeah, I keep seeing Dave Filoni's name in the show running and writing credits. And I'm like, maybe he's just, like Lucas, a good ideas guy. And he should stick to producing and stop writing this stuff, because... whew, man, a lot of it's just really... Again, the biggest problem with these, for me anyway, is storytelling. Like, if I was 6 years old or 8 years old or something like that, I doubt I would care, because laser swords, right? You know, cool aliens and laser swords. I don't really care. But I'm old now, so I care about the characters and the story, and they're just not very good. Again, not that there's nothing good. I do want to be clear that it's not just complete dog shit. No. There's a lot of neat stuff in there, but it just does not coalesce into a satisfying story. And I think a lot of that, it comes down to the script, honestly. Like, I don't think any director could take these scripts, and again, I haven't read these shooting scripts, so who the hell knows? But my lay ass sitting on the couch watching this, my suspicion is the problem is the writing's just not very good. The stories are not very good. So, get new writers, more writers. I don't know what the solution is, because there's some really cool ideas. Like, the productions are pretty damn cool, and again, like Obi-Wan, there's some great ideas there, and half of it really sang. And then another half is like, did y'all fall asleep behind the wheel? Because what happened here? You know? So a lot of the Star Wars stuff for me is not like terrible or anything. It's most all of it is completely watchable. But for me, it becomes very frustrating, because character and story is important to me. Again, if I'm 8 years old, again, aliens, laser swords, I probably wouldn't care as much. But you know, how dare these funny space movies for children not satisfy my adult tastes? Gosh darn it! Damn you, Disney! And Disney's like, yeah, but we can merchandise all this shit and get costumed characters to wander around the theme park, so kiss our corporate butt, Eisen, is probably what they're thinking. Because I know Disney's definitely thinking about my opinion. Let's see. Crow says, hopefully you haven't forgotten my beautiful face that you've never seen. Oh yeah, like Enfys Nest. That reminds me. It reminds me of the Metroid Other M, the marketing for that game before it came out. It had the one guy in the trailer. His helmet lifts. He's like, "Hey, remember me?" Everyone was like, No? Who the hell are you? People are like, is it like this guy from these old comics? No, it was just, no, we don't know who you are. You've literally never been established. Don't do this. Another pro tip from a layman. When you're writing dialogue, nobody ever says, as you know, blah blah blah. No one ever does that. Don't write dialogue that's, I know you have to get exposition in there some way, somehow, but don't do as you know. I've been saying that for a long, long time. And I found out in the last week or two that I was wrong. Apparently people do say, as you know, blah, blah, blah. You know where I heard someone do that? I was reading the trial transcripts from a particular trial that's happening in New York right now. Maybe you've heard of it. And I forget who it was. I think it was the defense counsel. I could be wrong. But they started cross-examining someone. And they're like, as you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay. Okay, writers, you can put the as you know in there, because apparently people say that. Fine. But I always thought that, like, if the person you're talking to already knows, then you're not going to waste time telling them. Of course, at least it's not as on the nose. It's like, hello, Susan, my sister, or something, you know. Exposition is hard. It's difficult to find a organic or subtle way to slip in stuff that the characters know, but the audience does it. You know, it's a craft. It's an art. Not saying I can do it better, but I can definitely point out when it's not done well. That's my superpower. Criticism. I can critique all the stuff that I couldn't do better. That is my gift. That is my burden to bear. Chaos says, at least prior to Disney, Star Wars was made by people who liked Star Wars. Now about 65% of the time it's made by people who strongly dislike it. I don't get that sense at all. Like, Dave Filoni, I get the sense that he adores Star Wars. So, now if you're talking about, like Bob Iger or something, yeah, odds are he specifically doesn't give a shit about Star Wars or Marvel or Pete's Dragon or really anything. He's a CEO. He's a money guy. That's consistent against throughout every studio. But you get down into, you know, even the producer level, you know, like you know, Kevin Feige or something. I don't doubt that guy super digs superheroes, right? Dave Filoni, as I was talking about, while I may think his writing is not so good, I don't doubt that the guy genuinely digs Star Wars, and at least all the behind-the-scenes stuff I've seen. It's the one nice thing about Disney Plus is they often produce little behind-the-scenes, little EPK-ish, but still generally pretty interesting. Everyone seems to be having a good time and digging it. I've never gotten the sense that, wow, this is really made by people who hate this property. Not my takeaway anyway. Crow says, glad I remind you of Metroid, yeah. But that's enough of that. I'd like to tell a story now of a gentleman I met at the grocery store earlier this week. Now, I was at the grocery store buying oats or whatever the hell I was getting. I was in the bulk bin, so I'm pretty sure I was, you know, scooping oats into a bag. And this guy comes up to me and just tries to start chatting me up, which almost never happens. You know, when I'm not performing for the camera right now, I give pretty clear fuck off vibes. You know, I radiate go away. So it's rare that people will approach me in public and try to start up conversation, but this gentleman did. Started with commenting on my appearance, or my dress, rather. Wear all black. And then he was circled around to the other, and I wasn't. I mean, I didn't tell him to piss off, but I, answered him polite enough, I felt. My go-to joke about how, I dress in all black because it makes my laundry very easy. But otherwise, just kind of not making eye contact, just busying myself scooping oats into a bag. And then he started talking about, like, some issues he had. Like, he'd got COVID a couple of years ago and felt really terrible. And he's like, and through it all, I came up with this acronym. Biscuit Weasel. I don't remember what the acronym was. I don't remember what it stood for. But he came up with this short acronym. And he's like, and it was this phrase. And it really meant a lot to me. And it got me through a lot. And then he said the phrase. And it was something like, Jesus is awesome and likes your shoes. Some pablum like that. And I looked up from my oats. And I turned to look at him. I'm like, where did this come from? I was not expecting a religious thing. And I turned and he was gone. And I'm like, is that the religious equivalent of ding dong dashing? Did this guy just try to I don't even know what the verb is. What did you think was going to happen here? Jesus is awesome, and then he runs away. And I was at one side of the aisle, and he must have literally ran away. Weirdest damn thing. I wish I could remember what the acronym or the phrase was. It was... Well, it was not that interesting. It's, pretty obvious. Christ is cool and has your back kind of a thing, right? Yeah, I don't remember it all, but it's like, Jesus loves you! Run away before you can say anything back! It's the weirdest goddamn thing ever. I have never... Now, I live in a gated community, so I don't have to worry about anyone knocking on my door to evangelize at me anymore. But I have never heard. I have never heard of that strategy where you chat someone up, get them to lower their guard, and then shoot a religious phrase at them and run away. What? Okay. I'm genuinely wondering what is this strategy? What are you expecting the result of this to be? Is it just confusing a person? Giving them a good chuckle? I mean, surely you don't think that's a great recruiting technique, right? Because I mean, seriously, imagine if that phrase really spoke to me or something. It's like, ooh, that's really neat. Tell me more. Sir? Well, shoot. That's the whole story. I just wanted to tell it because that was weird to me. A magic Jehovah Witness. Maybe he didn't run away. Maybe he was raptured. God was like, oh no, this is too embarrassing. Get him out of there. Abort. No idea. But Makes for kind of a funny... Be a funnier story if I could actually remember what the acronym and the phrase was, but I don't. I mean, it was just kind of... I remember it was just obvious and kind of dumb. And I'm guessing that's why he ran away. Because it's the kind of empty platitude that makes people roll their eyes and go, oh yeah, well if... Oh, he's gone. It's like, yeah, you aren't gonna, oh yeah, well if me, I'm already gone. Ha ha! Alright. I don't know. So, I want to talk about some trailers. Because as a person who is not in marketing, has no education in marketing, I sure do have opinions about marketing. So I saw the trailer for the new Assassin's Creed game this week. And I know what you're thinking. I bet you know where I'm going to go with this, don't you? Yeah, of course I am. I'm me. I have to go to the obvious place. So let's all say it together. No gameplay. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. This is like the 15th Assassin's Creed game. Unless they're doing something like radically different with it, I can't say I'm super upset that the 3.5-minute trailer, however long it was, didn't actually have any gameplay, because it's Assassin's Creed. We've got over a dozen of them. We know. I think we all have a pretty good idea of what the game's gonna play like, right? I mean, I would have preferred it if there was some actual gameplay, but you know, fine. But on the other hand, samurai and ninja, so that's cool. I mean, it's essentially what the assassins are, ninjas anyway. Egyptian ninjas! French ninjas! American ninjas! Where else has it been? Viking ninjas! Now Japanese ninjas! It's like, oh. Actually, yeah, yes, Japanese ninjas! Cool. So... At least one of them's a ninja. The other one's a big bruiser with a club. So I don't know how... I think I'm gonna guess they're gonna play pretty radically different. Like the ninja lady is gonna be all the, you know, she's got the hood and she's got the wrist knife thingy, so she's probably gonna do all the, you know, stabby sneak around, jump off things in the hay bales and stuff, and he's probably just gonna beat the shit out of people with clubs and stuff. He seems like a big bruiser. So, am I gonna play the game? No, I'm not really into Assassin's Creed. So, I don't think the games are very good. Like a lot of the Star Wars projects, there's a lot of elements of them that I think are super cool, but for me, they just don't coalesce into a satisfying gaming experience. I don't find the parkour kind of stuff is like neat, but it's not really fun to do, because it's like mechanically boring. You just kind of push forward and the character just climbs on anything. There's like there's like almost nowhere the character can't climb. It's almost like Breath of the Wild in a way, where you can climb just nearly any surface, right? There's just not a lot of thought to it, except Breath of the Wild actually has a stamina bar, so you have to do be mindful of that. But yeah, so if you're not sick of Assassin's Creed yet, got another one coming at the end of the year, so yay. Want to see a remake of Samurai Western? Is Samurai Western a thing? I don't recognize Samurai Western as a property. Cowboy Ninjas would be pretty badass, though. I mean, they release one of these nearly every other year, so we've done Egyptians, Vikings, not cowboys. Don't think cowboys. Native Americans, Vikings. We've done all kinds of ninjas, so I'm sure we'll get to cowboy ninjas eventually. Um, Apparently, it has something to do with pooping on historical accuracy. I don't know why I did shitting. I've already said the F word, I'm pretty sure. So, shitting on historical accuracy, but what has something to do with shitting on historical accuracy? My main problem is they're charging you $130! Good God! Samurai Western was a PS2 game. Oh. Well, it sounds... I don't remember that game, but that's a great title. I'm immediately interested. That sounds great. Pooping on historical accuracy? I mean... Assassin's Creed has never been known for its historical accuracy. I mean, it takes place in real places, and guest stars a lot of, historical figures, like George Washington's in one, Leonardo da Vinci's in one. Hell, the dude in this new one, Yasuke, I think his name is, actual historical figure. Don't know about the ninja lady though. Her name didn't. The dude that she's standing next to, I don't know if that's like her dad or whatever. That's a name I've heard. I don't know if that's a fictional character or if that's a historical character. History's not my strong suit, but yeah, Assassin's Creed is. That's not historically accurate. Yeah, dude, it's Assassin's Creed. Come on. Samurai Western, kind of pricey these days, goes for $150. Huh? Yeah, I didn't look, but what Crow was saying, I imagine Ubisoft is definitely doing a, $70 for the base games and for all kinds of other, and then for the Gold Edition and the Ultimate Edition and then the better edition than that. And it's like, wait, Ubisoft, you're telling me that there's an edition that's even better than Ultimate? Then it's not Ultimate, is it? You nutters. Let's see. Apparently, Yasuke was originally Japanese, but they made him black or something. Well, Yasuke is black, so you can't make Yasuke black. That figure was a black man. So I thought he looked cool, but $130 is way too much, deluxe edition or not. Oh yeah, I mean he looks badass. Big armor, helmet, big club thing. I bet it's a lot of fun, but yeah. But yeah, I doubt there's anything particularly cool in the special. That's one of the things I've seen with the Ubisoft. I didn't look at what the special editions for, but I looked at the special editions for the Ubisoft Star Wars game, and there is like $130 or something super special edition of that one. And it's like it's got nothing in it. It's like a season pass, and it's like, you can have an outfit and a new gun. It's like, what? Don't know for sure, going by word of mouth. It's fine. Yeah, Yasuke is a historical figure, is not a Japanese man. He's a black man who came to Japan and served under Nobunaga, I think? Again, I'm not a historian. I don't know. I've heard of the dude. He's been in, if you watch enough anime, you've probably heard or seen him depicted or heard him mentioned at times. Black Samurai, kind of a notable part of the history. So, Chaos says no. Yasuke was black. Right, that's what I said. Oh, well, I should read the rest of your comment. I'm sorry. Yasuke was a black man. The dispute is whether he was really a samurai or just a servant for Nobunaga. Nobunaga Oda. The dispute is whether he was really a samurai or not. I don't know. They have to ask a historian. I have no idea. In this game, he appears to be a samurai. So, there we go. Was he really? Don't know. I care way less about the woke or not argument. Yeah, anyone complaining woke, you can safely ignore them. More about the fact that these people can get away with this price point. Oh yeah, Ubisoft as a company sucks for a number of reasons. Probably most importantly would be they harbor and protect sex pests. They also crunch their employees. Really a bad company. And then we get down to the exploitative pricing and consumer unfriendly crap like the special editions that you're mentioning and the always online crap or the you have to sign it, you have to use our Ubisoft Connect thing. It's like no. Like I just played Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, a Ubisoft original, and I had to disable the internet. I had to disable the network so that I could actually play the single player game, non-online game that I just bought. Because otherwise, it literally would not let me. It's like, no, if you want to play the game you just bought, you gotta sign into Ubisoft Connect and create an account. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. There's no reason I need to do that. So luckily, I was able to just turn the console's network off and play the game. But yeah. Another guy named Asmon covered the $70 base price and literally said, "This is why people pirate games." Probably not the sole reason, but yeah, I'm certainly not. Now, me personally, I don't pirate stuff, but I'm also not going to pay $70 for a game either. With a couple exceptions, like buy one as a present, get one for the charity stream, and I did purchase Infinite Wealth for $70, I think. Oh, or if it's a game that like comes with a giant controller, like Steel Battalion or Guitar Hero or something. I'll pay extra if I'm getting extra, but yeah, typically I won't pay more than $50 for a game. That's me though. Yeah. I think the only game I've bought for $70 that I don't regret spending that much on is WWE 2020 2K24. All right. What was it talking about? Oh yeah, one more trailer I wanted to talk about. So, Wicked. Have you heard of Wicked? Well, have you heard of The Wizard of Oz? So, some years back, no one talks about it anymore. But there's a stage play called Wicked, which covers, the witches of Oz, and it's pretty popular. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you've heard some of the songs. So they're making a movie based on the stage show, and they released a trailer this week, and it does the thing that a lot of trailers do, especially for movie musicals, is they seem like shy of the fact that the movie's a musical. Like they seem to be trying to downplay or even hide the fact that this is a musical. Like, for example, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie that came out in the last year, I had no idea that was a musical until after it came out, and I read a few reviews. I'm like, it's a musical? I did not know that, because they hide that in the trailer. Wicked, not as hidden, but that's just weird to me. It's like, just people like musicals. I mean, not everybody, but musicals are not widely hated. People like Wicked. People like Hamilton. That's a recent musical that was very, very popular. Wicked, very popular soundtrack. Lean into that. Sell some CDs, guys. Come on. So there was that, and there was also the fact that if you've never seen the stage play, and you watch the trailer, you don't have to see the movie, because the trailer tells you almost the entire plot. Like, you'll come away, if you're like me, you'll come away from the trailer going, oh, that looks neat. Also looks like I've seen pretty much the entire movie, so I don't really need to see the movie now. Maybe if they told me it was a musical, I'd be like, oh, I should still go to listen to the pretty music, but... Heard of Wicked by name only? Yeah. Well, pardon me. Yeah, I saw Crow saying just because the technology is newer doesn't increase the price of the game. Not necessarily, but really, the way I look at it is this. Generally speaking, if if you need to charge $70 per game, and you need to sell over 6 million copies or it's an utter failure, and you need to do season passes and loot boxes and special, tiers of editions and microtransactions. If you need to do all of that stuff in order to turn a profit, I think you need to rethink your business model. Like, seriously, if you cannot run your company, if you need to do all of that to stay in business, I don't think you're running your company very well. Particularly because a lot of the studios who are doing all that keep firing everybody every year. So, really what it comes down to is there's a bunch of greedy people at the top who are taking all the money. Yeah, it's like I put on Twitter sometime this week. Earlier this year, Microsoft laid off like 2,000 people, and then earlier this week, it was announced that they're closing like 3 or 4 more studios, and laying off most of the people there too. And a lot of these, one of the, famously that one of the studios, I forget the Tango something or other, just did Hi-Fi Rush, which was an out-of-nowhere hit. Sold great, people loved it, critically acclaimed. You could use it, but no, studio gets shuttered. And I look at all that and I think, you should fire Phil Spencer, the guy who runs Xbox, because he's bad at his job. Seriously, if you're running a organization that has a bunch of game studios, and you year in, year out, even with enormously successful and loved games, if you can't make money off of that and end up having to fire thousands of people and constantly firing studios, and it wasn't Spencer, it was someone else who went on record saying something along the lines of, we just bought more studios than we have the resources to support. Not an exact quote, something along those lines to justify closing all these studios. It's like, yeah, that tells me someone's very, very bad at running your business. And you should fire them and replace them with someone who doesn't suck. But what do I know? I didn't major in business. Is Phil Spencer still better than Don Matrick? Sure. Sure. Let's see. Crow's gonna call it. Alright, take care. Thanks for dropping by. Good to see you again. Let's see. So many game companies need to keep their budgets in check. Not every game, not every game needs to cost all the money to make, and they don't all need to make all the money. Yeah, exactly. What I would love to see some of the bigger studios do, or rather some of the publishers who own studios, is be like, all right, make big AAA games, but also just like get a couple people, get a team of 10, and take a year and just make some small game that we can sell for $10. Anything, you've got a budget of $1 million. You've got a year. Just make something that we can sell on Steam or on the online store for whatever console for $10, right? Some of them may go by unnoticed. Some of them may be mildly successful. And every once in a while, you're going to have something that just breaks out as a major success. And you can add that to your portfolio of intellectual property and build on that and maybe make a AAA sequel. And those smaller games can help fund the bigger games that cost a shit ton of money because you sent people out into the rainforest to capture sound of rain in the forest. instead of hiring Foley artists or something. You know, I think most of the problems are the budgetary problems. I think most of it is just mismanagement by people who don't know what the hell they're doing, and greed. You know, we talked a little bit before about I think Chaos mentioned something about Chaos's feeling when watching Star Wars is he's not feeling the love behind it. That's definitely the case with like the CEOs and upper man. Like I touched on this earlier, but yeah, the people who run these companies broadly don't seem to give even the slightest shit about video games. And I'm not even saying they need to, but would be nice if they at least, I mean, even if it wasn't their bag, at least they had enough empathy to care, right? I mean, they're not all like David Zaslav, the Warner Brothers guy, who is actually genuinely hostile to just art. You know, he's the guy who's you know, throwing movies in the garbage for tax write-offs. Yeah, this is a person who not only doesn't care about movies, doesn't even seem to like them. They mean absolutely nothing to him. To him, seemingly, impression I get, art is completely worthless. You know, so are artists, because you know a lot of these people are looking into what do we need artists for? We can just use AI to steal stuff that artists already made and make a ugly ass collage. Then I'm sure people will buy it anyway. Yeah, they hate art, they hate artists, and they hate us, people who like art. They're like, oh, those people who pay us for art, they're stupid and have no taste, and they'll hoover up any garbage we shovel at them. Doesn't matter. What do we need artists for? We can get that horrible AI bullshit. Well, I mean, some people will pay for it, but I won't. I have standards, damn it. Even though I watched, even though some of the Star Wars shows aren't very good. Yeah, I really don't like. The thing about generative AI, and I realize it's a technology in progress, is like any tool, you know, it can be used for good or ill. Sadly, it's being predominantly used for ill right now. The funny thing, darkly funny, is that even if you ignore any concerns of, you know, ethics, right? AI art is garbage. It looks like shit. I keep seeing people on social medias posting AI images and little short movies, or you know, little clips, little vignettes, or saw, you know, like trailers for movies, and I'm like, this looks like garbage. Absolutely. What I imagine is going to happen, I think there's a good chance of the first AI movie is going to make a lot of money because it's going to be a curiosity. And because it makes a lot of money because it's a curiosity, studios are going to be like, oh my god, it's hugely popular, fire all the artists, hire prompters, and make more of this shit. And they're going to make a bunch of this shit, and no one's going to go see it because they saw the first one, they went, oh, well, my curiosity's sated, this is garbage. I mean, absolutely unwatchable garbage. And it's going to collapse. I hope we don't have to get there, but I'd say there's a fair chance that something along those lines ends up happening. The whole scraping and learning model is still unethical horse shit, even if AI-generated imagery was worth a damn, to be clear. I just think it's funny that the output is just phenomenally terrible garbage. Unless, I guess, you have no taste and just don't care. I don't know. Oh, what is my most anticipated game for the rest of the year? Asks Chaos. Level 5 last year advertised a game called Deca Police, which I thought looked really super nifty, and they haven't mentioned it since. So Deca Police, if it comes out this year, I still think it looks nifty. I don't know what happened with that game. Um, I don't know. I will probably have to wait till a lot of the E3 pressers in the next month see what's coming out in the fall. Can't think of anything that's really on the horizon that I'm anticipating. But I've got a whole backlog of games to play, so I'm not starving for games. Let's see. Xbox problems. Game Pass, for all the money it brings in, it isn't enough to cover the cost of these AAA games. It isn't close to being sustainable. I don't know enough about possibly. I don't know enough about it to really comment. All I know is if you constantly have to, if you constantly have to fire people and close studios, even if you have successful games, you're doing something wrong. And the fact that your CEOs are pocketing tens of millions apiece, that's probably it. Sony has the same problem. Their current view is games that cost $100 million to make is a mid-tier game. Spider-Man 2 costs over $300 million. Wow. And I didn't buy that one. I haven't actually played any of the Spider-Man, Miles Morales, or Spider-Man 2. Haven't played them. Hey, you think when they do Spider-Man 3, they'll have 3 Spider-Mans? Spider Peoples? I don't know, maybe like Gwen Stacy. She's not a Spider-Man, but yeah, close enough. There's a Spider-Woman, and add her. Who is Spider-Woman? Well, there's a couple of them. There's what is her name? I don't remember. Who was doing the Silk show? Was it Amazon Prime? Who the hell had someone was doing I think it was a cartoon. Someone had Silk. Well, it's got to be Sony, right? Sony, who's streaming service these? Is it Paramount? I don't remember. Let's see. It seems big gaming companies, only Nintendo knows how to budget properly. Or they know how to hide it better, because you rarely, if ever, hear of Nintendo just constantly laying people off and closing studios. So they're doing better, at least. Or they're better at hiding it. Really hard to say. I don't know. Chicago, yes, Deca, please. I haven't heard anything about it since its announcement. Yeah. Now, same with Professor Layton in the World of Steam. True, but I think that was I think that had a 2025 release date in the first place, right? I think Deca Police was supposed to be this year, and then or was it supposed to be last summer, and then it got pushed to this year, and then they just stopped talking about it? I don't remember. Or Miguel O'Hara from Spider-Man 2099, sure. Jessica Drew, that's right. I had Nancy Drew in my head. I'm like, no, it's not Nancy Drew. Jessica Drew, that's right. Amazon had the Silk show, but it seems like they may be going elsewhere. Okay. Yeah, I was like, was it Prime? I couldn't remember. I don't know why that... Well, because we're talking about Spider Peoples, but yeah. Okay, so that's it for tonight's rambling session. Tomorrow we return to Crossbell to... I guess we're going to have to search around for our companions. We are next to the hospital, so maybe they're all there. Maybe they're all in bed, and we just gotta sit there and read them stories until they come out of their comas, or maybe Fran will come out of her coma changed, and thirsty for vengeance. We'll see. Looking forward to it. I'm really enjoying that game. See if any of my other predictions end up surprisingly accurate or hilariously wrong. So, looking forward to that. Hope you are too. Have a good dinner and dessert if that strikes your fancy, and brush your teeth. Make sure you floss, wash behind your ears, all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Sunday stream. So, till then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.